Okay, so today we're going to do a deep dive into some pretty intense source material,
Oh, yeah.
all focused on this guy, Bodhi, and his last few days in prison.
Wow. Okay.
And right after he gets out, too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What makes this even crazier is the main source,
Okay.
and it reads like a seriously gritty work of fiction.
Oh, wow.
But we're going to use it to really try to understand what prison life is actually like.
Yeah.
You know, the gangs and even some really weird stuff. And this seems kind of supernatural.
Whoa.
So our mission here is to break down Bodhi's story, figure out who he is, what he goes through,
Yeah.
what challenges he has, and the super strange circumstances around how he gets released.
Totally. And this isn't just some made-up prison story.
Yeah.
For you, the learner, this deep dive gives you a close-up look at a world most of us will never see for ourselves.
Right.
Bodhi's story shows us what it takes to survive in a brutal place where the lines between right and wrong get blurred, and where the logical bumps right up against the unbelievable.
Exactly.
We want to unravel all the twists and turns of Bodhi's situation, bring you some surprising facts.
Yeah.
Memorable moments, all while making these intense themes clear without, overwhelming you.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump right in and try to understand Bodhi himself just through his interactions with other people.
Okay.
Right away, the sources throw us into this super tense moment with him and guard Carl's.
Right.
There's this obvious history there, there's bad blood.
Yeah.
Carl's even mentions these past fights they've had, talking about split skin and bruised bone.
Oh, wow.
But Bodhi, he's sarcastic, but he follows orders.
Okay.
He even says he was only trying to help my brother.
Interesting. What do you think about this first meeting? I mean, what does it tell us about how Bodhi survives in this place?
Yeah, it's like he's learned this way of dealing with the guards.
Yeah.
He pushes back a little bit, but ultimately he knows when to fall in line.
Right. Adaptive behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's smart in a tough situation.
Yeah. And his sarcasm shows he's not completely broken by the system.
That's right. He still has that fight in him.
Exactly. But then him being compliant, that's just practical.
Absolutely. Gotta pick your battles.
For sure. And when Carl's mentions all that violence, it's clear Bodhi's seen some rough stuff.
No doubt prison life is no joke.
And that thing about helping his brother, even if it's not true,
Right.
it shows he wants to spin things in a way that makes him look better.
Totally. Gotta play the game.
So that we see Bodhi with Warden Hardcastle.
Okay.
And we learn more about his past.
Yeah.
He's in for manslaughter. He over-medicated a patient with expired meds.
Whoa.
And he was in another prison before this one where he had a lot of trouble.
Oh, really?
He mentions what I was forced to do by the other warden, allegedly,
Ooh.
which guard Carl's immediately jumps on, of course.
Sounds suspicious.
But then Bodhi suggests he work in the infirmary.
Oh, wow.
And he says he'll take responsibility for anything that goes wrong.
Interesting. What do you think his motivations are there?
It seems like he's trying to show he's changed. You know,
Yeah.
that he's trying to make things right.
Maybe trying to get on the warden's good side.
Yeah, exactly. He even plays into the whole
Mm.
restitution, rehabilitation, and most importantly, redemption thing the warden's always talking about.
Very savvy. He's using the system's own language.
Right. Even bringing up that murky situation from the other prison,
Mm-hmm.
like he's trying to appear transparent.
Bold move.
Yeah. But Carl's isn't buying it.
No, I don't think so.
His sarcasm is so sharp.
Yeah.
When he says that thing about putting Bodhi in the same room with the inmate he tried to murder in front of everyone when nobody is watching,
Ouch.
it really shows how much distrust Bodhi's up against.
Definitely. But then we see him interacting with other inmates,
Yeah.
and things get even more complicated.
He has this run-in with some gang members.
Oh, no.
New guys he calls fish.
Okay.
They threaten him.
Oh, wow.
And Bodhi, he becomes super defiant.
Really?
He even lets out this war yelp.
A war yelp.
That doesn't sound good.
It's like a complete flip from how he acts around the guards.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
What do you make of that?
Well, it shows how complex it is to survive in prison.
Right.
Being careful around the guards, that's a strategy.
Yeah.
But with other inmates, especially when they're threatening you, it's a whole different game.
Right. Yeah.
You got to show you're not going to be a victim.
You got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah. That war yelp, I don't know what its cultural significance is for Bodhi,
Right.
but it sends a clear message that he's not backing down.
It's like he's got different ways of communicating depending on who he's dealing with.
Exactly. Different situations call for different approaches.
Later on, Bodhi talks about himself as a mutt of everything all mixed up.
Oh, really?
He says he spent some time on a reservation when he was younger,
Uh-huh.
and his family is complicated. A rodeo dad
Wow.
versus a supportive mom and grandpa.
Interesting mix. Do you think that kind of background shaped him?
He's got it, right? Probably being a mutt suggests he's always been between different worlds.
You're right.
Maybe never truly fitting in anywhere.
Maybe that's why he's so good at adapting.
Could be. And maybe why he keeps his guard up.
Yeah. The time on the res and his grandfather's influence.
Yeah,
Maybe that gave him values that will come into play later.
could be. And the contrast with his Rovio father.
Yeah.
Maybe that shows why he's so independent.
It's like he had to figure things out on his own.
Especially in a place like prison.
Then we get into Bodhi's relationship with the Diamondbacks, especially with King.
Okay.
Bodhi basically admits to being King's errand boy,
Oh, wow.
a gopher.
Huh.
King seems to care about another member, Spike,
Uh-huh.
but he also offers Bodhi a chance to join the gang when he gets out.
To wear their colors.
Yeah, but Bodhi's not so sure.
Really?
He's hoping to reconnect with his family.
Makes sense.
But King gives Bodhi some advice that seems pretty wise.
What does he say?
He tells him to be strong for yourself first, and to take advantage of the right opportunity to teach others the same lesson.
Wow. That's deeper than I expected from a gang leader.
Yeah. What do you think about all that?
I think it shows us where Bodhi stands within the prison's pecking order
Okay.
and what he might be able to do once he's free.
Right.
The offer to join the Diamondbacks, that means they accept him.
Yeah.
They see his worth.
But King's advice goes beyond just gang stuff.
Yeah, be strong for yourself first. That's crucial in a place like prison.
Absolutely.
You gotta look out for number one.
But that part about teaching others,
Right.
that suggests Bodhi could become something more.
Maybe even a leader.
Yeah, someone who helps others.
Even in a rigid system like a prison gang,
Right.
there's room for growth and individual potential.
And it's interesting that Bodhi also has this friend, Cherry, in the tribal gang.
Oh yeah, I forgot about her.
He says he can unload on her.
That's huge. In a place as divided as prison,
Totally.
having a friend in another gang is pretty rare.
And important for staying sane.
For sure, human connection is essential even in the worst situations.
Then things take this weird turn when the warden warns Bodhi about Las Hermanas.
What happens?
He starts talking about these creepy events.
Like what?
People disappearing,
Oh,
inmates acting strange,
that's creepy.
and a guard was killed really brutally.
Oh no.
The warden even uses the term Mexican hoodoo.
Mexican hoodoo.
Yeah, and he asks Bodhi to be bait.
To draw out whoever's doing this.
Yeah,
But
but he makes it clear Bodhi shouldn't be a rat.
just a snake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's here that things start to feel supernatural.
I was just thinking that this is where the story goes beyond typical prison drama.
Right.
The warden admitting there might be something supernatural going on, that's huge.
And him suspecting Mexican hoodoo.
That brings in a whole other element.
It's like the usual explanations don't work anymore.
And asking Bodhi to be bait?
Yeah.
That means the warden sees Bodhi as someone who can handle this.
Who can navigate the danger.
Exactly. And the rat versus snake thing, that tells us a lot.
A rat informs, a snake acts on its own.
The warden wants Bodhi to figure things out his own way.
Maybe because the official channels have failed.
It's like the story's crossing over from the real world into something else.
Especially in a place as intense as prison.
For sure.
Shortly after that, Bodhi gets a new cellmate, Caedmon Murphy.
Okay.
He's got this Irish accent.
Oh, cool.
And he admits to almost killing a wife beater.
Whoa.
Bodhi tries to warn him about how dangerous prison is,
Yeah.
straight up calling him a walking filet mignon.
That's harsh, but probably true.
But then Caedmon gets upset thinking Bodhi is ashamed of his own crime.
Really?
It's a super strange dynamic.
Yeah, Caedmon seems so naive.
Right.
He's got this empathy that's rare in prison. It's
Yeah.
like he's from a different world.
Totally. And that walking filet mignon comment. It's brutal, but realistic.
Absolutely.
But it also shows Bodhi trying to protect Caedmon.
You're right. It's like he feels responsible for him.
Even though Bodhi acts all tough,
Yeah. It's unexpected, but kind of heartwarming.
it shows how being locked up together can create these strange friendships.
People from completely different backgrounds finding common ground.
Then things get even more tense with Las Hermanas.
Oh.
It happens at breakfast. Topaz, one of their members,
Right.
she confronts Bodhi about one of their guys getting hurt.
Hurt by Caedmon.
Yeah, and about another one of their members who's disappeared.
Oh, no.
And she calls him Booty Boy.
Oh.
It's so hostile.
What does Bodhi do?
King steps in to defend him,
Okay.
and he even calls out Topaz for being weak.
Whoa. It's like Bodhi is caught in the middle of this gang war.
Exactly. He's in a dangerous spot.
Totally.
What does that tell us?
It shows how even small things can blow up in prison.
Yeah.
Bodhi being associated with Caedmon
Right.
and his own reputation.
Uh-huh.
It makes him a target for Los Hermanos.
That booty boy nickname.
Right.
It's meant to disrespect him.
Absolutely.
But King's stepping up.
Yeah.
That shows the Diamondbacks have his back.
And they're not afraid of Los Hermanos.
Things are really heating up.
This is intense.
After that, King tells Bodhi to keep an eye on Caedmon.
Okay.
And he says he's going to talk to him later. Copper, another Diamondback.
Yeah.
He uses these names for Caedmon, like Snowflake and Whip.
Not very nice.
But King's like, nope, you got to protect him.
He's really invested in Caedmon.
It's weird, right?
Yeah. What do you make of that?
It's like King sees something special in Caedmon.
Maybe his trading skills.
Or his strong sense of right and wrong.
Or maybe King thinks he can use Caedmon somehow.
It's interesting how Copper looks down on him,
Yeah.
but King shuts that down immediately.
That shows King's the one in charge.
And we find out that both King and the Warden are worried about Caedmon.
So he's important to both sides of the fence.
Exactly. Then King asks Bodhi about the clinic incident again.
The one with Slippy?
Yeah, Bodhi still says a brujo did it.
A brujo.
Yeah, it means like a sorcerer or a witch.
Oh, right.
And he thinks maybe someone drugged everyone with Rohypnol.
Maybe a dirty guard.
It keeps getting weirder.
It does. Both the gang leader and the warden are looking out for this new guy.
And no one knows for sure what happened at the clinic.
It's like the usual explanations don't make sense.
And people are grasping at straws.
They want to understand, but it's also strange.
So then Bodhi gets moved to a new cell.
To be with Caedmon.
Yeah, and they talk about why they're in prison.
Heavy stuff.
Then we get this flashback to when Bodhi was an EMT.
Oh, wow.
He describes this really frustrating call.
What happened?
He was a kid with low blood sugar.
Oh, no.
But there were all these problems.
Like what?
Different rules between his private ambulance company and 911.
Oh.
A nurse who wouldn't help because she had appointments.
That's awful.
Bodhi couldn't get an IV in.
Oh,
And
man.
his company had crappy equipment.
Oh, frustrating.
He wanted to help, but the system was working against him.
It sounds like that led to his manslaughter charge.
Yeah, it shows his heart was in the right place.
He wanted to save lives.
But things went terribly wrong.
It's tragic. And it shows how his past connects to what's happening now.
Back in the present, Bodhi runs into Reggie in the yard.
Reggie, the one accused of child molestation.
Yeah, and Reggie thanks Bodhi for something.
Ah.
We don't know what for, but Copper immediately accuses Reggie of putting a hit on himself.
So he could get released early.
Yeah, Reggie claims his lawyer was working on an appeal,
Okay.
but the warden thinks the lawyer's death was suspicious.
Ooh. There's a lot going on with Reggie.
Yeah, it's a mess.
What do you think's really going on?
It's hard to say, but it seems like there are some powerful people involved.
Maybe people outside the prison?
Yeah, and Bodhi's getting pulled into it even more.
This is getting complicated.
King then weighs in on the Reggie situation.
Okay. What's his take?
He says there are two possibilities. Either Reggie's trying to escape,
Right.
or someone wants him dead.
And the lawyer?
King thinks the lawyer's death points to the second option.
That makes sense.
But then Caedmon speaks up for Reggie.
Oh, wow.
He questions why Copper's always so negative.
Oh.
He reminds everyone that Reggie thanked Bodhi.
Uh-huh.
And he says a sociopath wouldn't side with Topaz if he was trying to con everyone.
Interesting. Caedmon's really observant.
Yeah, King decides to let Reggie stay with him under Caedmon's protection.
Wow, that's a big move.
Yeah, what does it tell you?
Well, first, King is smart.
Right,
He analyzes the situation, thinks about different angles.
and connects the dots.
Exactly. And Caedmon, he's surprisingly perceptive.
Yeah,
For someone so new to prison, he sees things others miss.
yeah, and King taking Reggie in that changes things. Alliances are shifting.
For sure. It shows how unpredictable things can be.
Then we get this rapid-fire sequence of events.
Oh, no.
Carls tells Bodhi he's got a special duty shift at the clinic.
Okay.
Then the warden asks Bodhi to work the night shift there.
Because of Los Hermanos?
Yeah, and it messes up Bodhi's sleep schedule.
Sounds intentional.
Then Bodhi, the warden, and Carls have a meeting
About what?
about the yard incident with Topaz and Caedmon. And Carls admits to telling the warden that Bodhi was making deals.
Ooh, not good.
It feels like they're setting Bodhi up.
Putting him in a dangerous spot.
Yeah,
What do you think's going on?
it seems like they're using him.
As a pawn,
Yeah.
Carl's lying about the deals that makes Bodhi look bad
Well,
to both the guards and the inmates.
Right.
And the night shift in the clinic, that's risky.
especially after the warden told Bodhi to be a snake,
It's like they're pushing him into the lion's den.
hoping he'll uncover something.
Without thinking about the danger to Bodhi.
Then things explode in the clinic.
What happens?
This guy, Spider, attacks Hemi.
Oh, no.
Lemmy fights back but loses a hand.
Oh, man.
Spider goes after the guards and a nurse named Nancy.
Oh, wow.
Bodhi steps in to confront Spider.
This sounds chaotic.
Later, the warden says there's no audio and the video's messed up.
That's strange. It's like the cameras just stopped working.
It makes the whole thing even more unsettling.
You're right. It adds to the mystery.
The violence is so extreme.
It feels like it goes beyond what you'd expect in a prison fight.
Right.
Like something else is driving it.
What do you make of that?
Well, it's hard to say for sure,
Right.
but the brutality and the warden not being able to get a clear record of it, it points to something beyond the normal.
Beyond human aggression.
It makes you wonder if there's something supernatural going on.
Bodhi's description of Spider's behavior is especially disturbing.
What does he say?
He says Spider was rhyming.
Rhyming.
Yeah, and he kept asking people to join him.
Join him.
And then Jamie starts acting the same way.
Like he's been infected.
Yeah, it points directly to that supernatural element.
That something's contagious or possessing people.
Exactly. This isn't just regular violence anymore.
It's something darker, something scary.
It really makes you question what evil can be like.
And what might be possible beyond what we normally see.
Bodhi tries to cope with all this by being sarcastic.
Really?
Yeah, when he tells the warden and Carls what happened. He uses words like zombie and redskin who killed all the whites.
That's pretty dark humor.
Yeah, it seems like he's using it to deal with the trauma.
To distance himself from what happened.
Right, it's like he can't believe it himself.
He's seen something that doesn't make sense.
So he uses humor to process it.
It's a way to cope with the unbelievable.
Then the warden and Bodhi talk about the Brujo,
Who is he?
Orphan Annie.
Orphan Annie.
Yeah, or Rudolph Vera.
Okay.
But his background isn't what you expect.
What do you mean?
He's got a record for check fraud, child support issues, kiddie porn,
Oh, wow.
pot tarot cards.
That's not exactly the profile of a powerful sorcerer.
Right. But the warden thinks maybe the occult influence came from South America.
After Vera got to the prison.
Yeah. It's like he's trying to find a rational explanation.
For something that seems totally irrational.
It shows how desperate they are to make sense of things.
Even if it means looking for answers in strange places.
Bodhi then suggests they blame the clinic riot on Los Hermanos.
Ooh, that's risky.
Yeah. But Carl says too many guards were involved for that to work.
Good point.
Bodhi gets frustrated.
Why?
They want him to come up with a cover story.
Even though he's injured.
Yeah. And he warns them, if they blame everything on Los Hermanos, the gang will take over the prison.
That's a valid concern. Bodhi's thinking clearly, even in all this chaos.
He understands the power dynamics.
And the potential consequences.
In their last conversation before breakfast, the warden's tone changes.
How so?
He sounds resigned.
Oh, wow.
He says, our worm on a hook better land us a whale.
That's a pretty intense metaphor.
What do you think it means?
It means they're using Bodhi.
As bait.
Yeah.
And they're hoping to catch something big.
Something that will explain everything.
They don't care if Bodhi gets hurt in the process.
It's a reminder that sometimes people are just pawns in a bigger game.
After breakfast, Bodhi talks to Caedmon about what happened in the clinic.
What does he say?
He describes this evil spirit jumping between bodies.
Oh, wow.
Caedmon believes in demonic possession.
Does that surprise you?
Not really.
I guess it makes sense, given his faith.
Yeah, and he says he's never seen a willing host before.
That's interesting. So even his beliefs are being challenged.
It's like they're both trying to understand something that's beyond their comprehension.
And they're finding comfort in each other.
At breakfast, Bodhi tells King and Copper about the riot.
Okay.
He can't figure out how Spider got out of his cell.
Right.
He thinks maybe someone drugged him or used witchcraft.
It's getting harder and harder to deny the supernatural.
But Topaz shows up.
Oh.
She confronts Bodhi, Caedmon, and King.
Right in front of everyone.
Yeah, and she accuses Bodhi of killing Spider and the others.
Whoa.
King demands proof.
Good for him.
The warden steps in and shows security footage.
Oh, no.
But it contradicts Bodhi's story.
What does it show?
It shows Perez attacking Rudolph and Hammy.
Well, okay.
Hammy leaving injured.
Uh-huh.
Perez following Hammy to the clinic. And then Bodhi standing over Perez's body with blood on him.
Oh, man, that looks bad.
It does. But the footage doesn't show everything.
Like what?
It doesn't show Spider and Jamie acting crazy before the attack.
Right.
And it doesn't explain how Bodhi got covered in blood.
So there are still unanswered questions.
Definitely.
Even with the video evidence.
Bodhi asks about Eddie the medic and Spike.
What's the news?
Eddie's unconscious and Spike and Jamie are in the hospital.
That's rough.
Topaz keeps taunting Bodhi.
What does she say?
She even says the guards are on his side.
That's a scary thought.
And then Rudolph shows up.
Orphan Annie.
Yeah, he smells awful. And he says to Bodhi, the truth will set you free.
That's creepy, especially after everything that's happened.
Like there's this whole other layer of truth that we don't know yet.
And it might be dangerous.
Then a fight breaks out in the yard.
And another one.
Bodhi's fighting multiple gang members, including Topaz.
Wow.
He's trying to protect himself and Caedmon.
What about Caedmon? Does he fight back?
Yeah, surprisingly he does.
Really?
And he's good. He even yells out these religious things while he's fighting.
It's like something out of a
He
movie.
shows how desperate they are.
And how strong their bond is.
But then Caedmon gets hurt really bad.
Oh,
He's having trouble breathing, and it looks like chest trauma.
that's serious.
Bodhi jumps into action.
His EMT training kicks in.
Yeah, he uses supplies from Skippy trauma shears, tape gauze, chest seals,
He's working fast.
and he starts CPR, begging people to give rescue breaths.
This is intense.
Skippy comes back with a King Airway, life pack, and an IO gun.
Wow. He came prepared.
They try to intubate Caedmon,
Yeah.
but this geyser of bloody fluid comes out. Medics show up and take over.
It's like Bodhi's past and present have collided.
Yeah, in the worst way.
What do you think about this scene?
It's heartbreaking, but also amazing.
How so?
Bodhi could have just given up,
Right.
but he didn't. He fought to save Caedmon.
Even though it was dangerous?
Yeah, it shows how compassionate he is,
As skilled he is.
but it also shows the limitations of his skills.
Especially in a place like prison.
We find out Caedmon coded on the way to the hospital,
Oh no.
but they brought him back.
Thank goodness.
He's still in surgery though.
So he's not out of the woods yet.
Bodhi's completely drained.
Physically and emotionally.
Yeah, and he's done with the warden.
What do you mean?
He says he's not going to be his pawn anymore.
It's like this whole experience has changed him.
He's not going to let himself be manipulated.
It's a powerful moment. He's taking back control.
Back in his cell, Bodhi finds Caedmon's Bible and a notebook.
What's in the notebook?
Notes, prayers, poetry, some Bible verses,
Okay.
and then pages of gibberish.
Gibberish.
Maybe it's Gaelic.
That's interesting.
It gives us a glimpse into Caedmon's inner world.
Beyond just what we see on the surface.
Right. It shows he's a complex person.
With his own thoughts and beliefs.
And maybe some secrets too.
Those gibberish pages definitely raise some questions.
Carl's comes to see Bodhi.
What does he want?
He says the warden wants to apologize.
Oh,
And he explains that he was forced to lie about Bodhi.
forced.
He says there were hostages.
Oh, wow. So he was under duress.
Bodhi understands.
He's not angry?
Nope.
That's surprising. After everything Carl's put him through,
I know, but it shows how much Bodhi has grown.
he's not holding on to anger.
He's choosing to see Carl's as a person who is in a tough spot.
Even in prison, there's room for empathy and forgiveness.
And Bodhi meets with the warden.
What happens?
The warden says Caedmon coded again during surgery.
Hmm.
He's back in the operating room.
I hope he makes it.
The warden tells Bodhi, you did good.
Wow, that's a big deal coming from him.
He also says they found Rudolph's secret journals.
What's in them?
All sorts of disturbing stuff.
Like what?
Descriptions of mutilations, sacrifices in unknown language,
Oh my god.
and a bloody glass shank.
That's terrifying.
The warden admits that something supernatural might be going on.
He's finally acknowledging it.
It's like he can't deny it anymore.
The evidence is too strong.
The next time Bodhi's in the yard, both the Diamondbacks and Cherry's tribe show their support.
That's great.
Cherry even gives him a cut of some winnings from a bet.
Wow, they really have his back.
And King makes arrangements for the money to be sent to Papa Gun,
Who's Papa Gun?
someone Bodhi's close to.
It shows how much respect Bodhi has earned.
From all different groups in the prison,
He's built a reputation based on his actions.
Bodhi talks to Terrell, an arsonist, about Topaz,
What about?
about whether she can change.
They think she can.